Hi, I'm Aimee Burgamy, or Aimee Burgamy as my friends call me, and I'm an art teacher in Gwinnett County at Richard Hull Middle School. And I am sharing with you today some of the blended learning that I've been doing with my students. And so we are using Adobe Spark and Padlet. And so I've chosen these two applications because they are free, because they can work on a cell phone as well as on a computer, and you can go back and forth between cell phone and computer. And so I'd love to share what we've been doing. Okay, so one of the softwares that I wanted to share with you was Padlet. So here it is, Padlet, Padlet. And Padlet is a software that allows you to share images and videos and embedded links with pictures in real time while teaching digitally or while teaching blended learning. And so to get my students started in August right away on one of the first days, we use the work of the band OK Go, which this is their link here, okgosandbox.org. They had a Art Together Now challenge. This was their kids' first entree into making anything together. Many didn't have supplies, so I even acted out here like take a letter that you can act out, and I took 2 rulers and made the letter T. You can see that the kids are all submitting letters, and together they spell art together. We ended up doing this across several different classes. Art Together Now, hashtag, thank you essential workers, heroes work here, so many great signs. And then we later took those to some software and created some photo collages. And so actually here is one of our photo collages. And we printed those as posters and put them around school. And we also, posted them online and on social media. This is a pretty successful project. And I think that being able to use Padlet was a big part of that. And so I just want to demonstrate really quickly how this works. So they can be set up in many different ways. I happen to set up columns. You can set the plus sign at the top or the bottom. Sometimes you can just click anywhere and create a plus sign, but for this one, they're at the bottom. So new entries will be submitted at the bottom. So you press the plus sign and it opens a post. And then for this, you would just press the camera. And even if you're in a Zoom, usually it pops up and asks, can it use the camera? And so it's borrowing my camera, and I have a sign ready to go. Let me tilt it just right so it looks good. And then just like taking a picture with a phone, you press the camera button. It counts down 3, 2, 1. And if you're happy with what you have there, then you hit save. And it immediately puts it into the post. So that's pretty cool, and it appears in real time. I could, in a Zoom, share the screen, and kids always want to see, oh, there's mine, there's mine. In this case, and this day, we were posting anonymously. So I asked the kids to say, I am Bobby, I am David, I am Dr. B. And we were actually pretty good. I didn't have anyone acting inappropriately about who they were. But then once class got rolling, we did go to a password protected Padlet. And so now I'm going to come off of Art Together and just show you a regular Padlet. These are my dashboards. And so we've been so successful with this that I've had to start a second Padlet because we posted so many things. It's not that the Padlet couldn't handle it, it's that the kids are on different kinds of computers, and it takes a long time to load once a Padlet becomes very full. And so it says we have a new Padlet, and there's the link, but this is our old one, and that's the one that's impressive to look at because you can see all of the posts. But you can even see right now it's taking a while for these to load. And so it became prohibitive once we got too far into it to wait for the whole load before we put anything in. So we just segued into a new one, but it's fun to see how much we've built in just a short time. We segued into a second project using Adobe Spark, and this is my example. I'm going to click it here. And that's another thing. You can download these, you can click them and enlarge them, and it keeps a lot of the quality. This was a getting to know you project using Adobe Spark Collage, and that would be under Adobe Spark is one software on your computer, on a phone or tablet. It is 3 different softwares. So it is Adobe Post, Adobe Video, and Adobe Pages. And so this one was using Adobe Post, which is collage, and it's set up to integrate really easily with a lot of social media. So it worked really well with Padlet's platform. And so you can see that was my example. What we did on day 2, I think we're still anonymous at that point, was that we, you can see these are some of the other kids in this particular class, and their Art Together Now signs. But here was the question. It was like, what is your favorite color? What is your age? Tell me a positive word that describes you. What is your favorite food or food group? So you could say sweets or salty, or you could say pizza. And then what is your hobby? And then a lot of middle schoolers would say, I don't have a hobby. So you could say, okay, well, what is a dream destination, somewhere you'd really like to go? Number 7, what is your pet? Or if you don't have a pet, what is your spirit animal? What is an animal that you think is interesting, your favorite animal? And then 8 was the coolest holiday, because if you said what's your favorite holiday, you're going to get a whole bunch of Christmas, and that's going to kind of throw off your design. So I even told them this and said, so let's not all pick Christmas. If you absolutely have to, go ahead. But what kind of holidays are interesting? I want to hear something interesting like Groundhog's Day. And so that's what the kids were doing. And I'll show you the software in just a minute, but they were able to produce really great results very quickly. And then they were able to post them here, and they were able to complement each other. And so they not only introduced themselves here on the left on day 1 in their space, giving the answers, right? But then on day 3, they were producing, that's another one of my examples, sorry. They were producing these really cool photo collages, which are also very distinct. And they look pretty professional. And, you know, they like to have a critique and talk about the choices that different people made. And this is having some pretty deep conversation in the span of 3 to 5 days, forms. And then we did this project where we designed a logo. And so it's a logo for the kid, and it's supposed to draw from the project, the original project where they told us things about themselves. And so that, again, was using Adobe. And under the Adobe pages, there is a new beta product, which is a logo maker. And so I'm going to show you that as well. And so each kid designed 3 different logos for themselves. And then, in addition to posting them here, they used the Adobe pages to create a website in which they showed off all 3. And then we did a critique. And so if we click here on history, so that's just a brief overview. I wanted to show you the band OK Go really quickly, just a little bit of video, because they make videos that use stop motion animation, and also videos that are one takes that are highly choreographed and pretty impressive. And so this happens to be a video. It's fun when you introduce the Art Together Now concept and you can share this band, because the kids really dig it. And so just a little clip. So yeah, so they were in space, and they were doing all kinds of crazy things, and they actually took suggestions from the internet. The artists in this band actually met when they were middle school students while attending summer camp. And they became a very successful international band, award-winning. So they have this educational website called the OK Go Sandbox. And from this, they have many videos, but during the COVID, they were quarantined, and so they became one of those first groups to put together a musical compilation where different members were working from home, and then they were putting that together. And they were even using household items, etc. And so on their highly successful webpage, which has a wonderful educational component, they came up with the Art Together Now Challenge, which is what we were participating in. And you can take a look at that, a lot of fun. So now let's head to Adobe Spark. So the first thing I want to show you is the collage, which is that first project that we did that was so great. So we, as I said, it's on the computer, it's one software, and you see all these little things that you can do with it. Basically, it's color-coded, so, and then it's 3 apps. And so one app is everything that's green, the other app is everything that's blue, and the other app is everything that's red that looks like a thing. So it's pretty easy to figure out. The controls are all virtually the same between the app and the online version. All right, so we're doing collage, so we click collage. and it's really geared towards a lot of social media and advertising. So there's like pop-up messages when you're waiting that have to do with that. But if you'll remember our list, we just search in like your favorite color. So if I put purple, and I hit enter, I get all of these free, copyright free, and they come from 3 different sources. But when you hover on them, you see one's Unsplash, Pixabay, so things that you probably have heard of before. And you search for one that you like, that you think seems sort of represents the word and you. And when you have chosen that, you select it and it puts it here. So we just went through the list and we typed in each of those things. Now for the age, I put that I said JK to the kids, and then I encouraged them to pick something that wasn't just the number 20, but you know, that they could then edit. So something like this was pretty nice. And I went ahead and checked, and all of the ages that middle schoolers you might expect, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, even 10, those were all represented. However, when we got into the other ages for the teachers, those weren't represented, thus my need to select 20. All right, so there we go. So it worked out. So I just go through the list, and I gather all of the pictures that I need. I've got it on images, and so now I just have to scroll down. That's always the hard part because I don't know. And I'm sorry, I can't get to my controls. There we go, and hit next. And so then I can decide which format. I had everyone pick the same format just so that it would be easier to print out, and we just kept it with the default, which was square, and it throws all these pictures into a collage. And then in the next steps, we learned how to edit, how to move things around. And I have prepared another video that in greater detail goes through every step, which I'm happy to share with you. But I'm just going to show you some of the highlights here. We would talk about layout, but the first thing we do is click add. We would add text, and we would just type our name, not with one of these templates. You just add your text, and we would type our names, and then we would hit done, and it would just sort of throw it there in a random way. But one of the coolest things about the software is that it has the style dial. So if you can click this button here on the left with style, then it gives you this, and you can sort of spin it, and it's going to give you all these options for graphic design. And like I tell the kids, if you really love something but you hate the color, that can easily be changed. But here are all these suggestions, and you know, the dial keeps going. And even some of these shapes, it's like if you really love these shapes, we can adjust them to fit your composition. So you just pick something that you like, and then we did some other things. We removed all the backgrounds so the pictures bled together. We played with layouts, sometimes adding like additional spaces so that like the name could fall into. And even with layouts, there's a style dial here to shuffle, and you can keep playing around with layouts. And then you can also take something that you like and drag it somewhere else, and they switch places. There's the ability within a picture to edit pretty easily, and even to rotate and flip, all kinds of things like that. Scale things up, scale things down. So that's like what we talked about with the 20, to really emphasize the number by scaling things up or down, and making some adjustments. So yeah, so we played around with those kind of things to get a finished product. Let's pretend that this is a finished product though, which it isn't. What we would do next is we wouldn't download it, we would just hit share, and then publish, and then we would just generate a link. And if you place that link in Padlet, it immediately shows a version of this picture without. Okay, and so another project that we did was we made some logos. And so to use the brand function from here on the left. So you hit brand, create a brand, and then under here, skip this step, try our logo maker. Again, I have highly detailed directions so you can do this. Here, the first time you put in your dream destination or hobby, the second time you put in your animal, and the third time you put in your future career. You put in your name here every single time, and at the bottom, you created a slogan using the word about you. So I was creative, so I put in limitless creativity. It was actually based on a longer quote by Maya Angelou, but you don't really need to know that now. So anyway, so I have those in, and I hit next. And then I have to choose between 4 kinds of styles. So I can either be bold, elegant, modern, or decorative. Since we're making 3 logos, I tried a different one each time. So let's just click bold for the sake of argument. Again, the one little flaw I find is that we have to scroll down most of the time to find that next button. And kids are always like, it's not working, I clicked it, it didn't work. And so sometimes you don't have to click next, sometimes you just click thing, and so that's the one downfall. Okay, because I put Paris as a dream destination, it's giving me some icons, and I'm going to select one that represents Paris, or if I don't like it, I can change. So I'm just going to change to art and select some icons that have to do with art. Lots of selections here. Okay, and so you don't have to marry the icon, just pick something that kind of appeals, hit next, and it's going to design 45 logos based on those terms. Again, I direct the kids not to select something based on the colors because that's easily changed. And there's a style dial. If I go fast enough, you begin to see the style dial at the bottom of the screen, but it is generating, and it generates close to 50 different possibilities here. And then at the bottom it says, didn't like those 50? Then, well, here, click one of these buttons and we'll generate another 50. All right, so here are all variations that include either all the elements that I suggested or just some of them. And then you just try and pick one that you think is strong, and then we go in and do some edits on it. All right, so if I go here with my initial side, that's really not the strongest one. At this point, I can just do some flipping of colors, and if that doesn't produce something that I like, I still, or even if it does, I hit customize more, continue. Then I can start, adjusting colors. I get all kinds of different color schemes to choose from, or I can simply use a shuffle or change colors from here directly to a palette. But then I like the idea that it has these suggested palettes. So those are kind of fun. You can even animate here, so you can make your own GIFs. You can add actual photos to the background of this. So there's a lot of amazing stuff that you can do with the software. Just love it. All right, happy Adobeing.